Welcome to this presentation of the ASM Alert platform. Here we will talk about how to use high-resolution and very high-resolution satellite imagery to recognize artisanal small-scale mining. Before you can enter the online platform, please ask for credentials using the email address asmalert@gaf.de. We will provide you with a login username and a password. After you received your login and password and enter the platform, left-click on the upper left button to start all available layers. Now you can see all layers which are available for the platform. Of special interest here are now the ASM alerts. In this specific case, we look on the fourth quarter of the year 2021. Here you can see the violet dots indicating alerts on the map. We will now have a look mainly at this area in the northeast highlighted within the red circle. This is the zoom-in area of maximum activity of quarter 4 but with another background. This is the background of the OpenStreetMap. This is the same area but with another background. This is the Sentinel-2 composite. In this image we clearly see along the rivers the deforestation and the open soils along the riverbanks. So this is a clear sign of alluvial artisan small-scale mining. We will now have a look on Zoom Area 1 in particular and also Zoom Areas 2, 3 and 4. Here we see a little part with obvious artisanal small-scale mining on a Bing background. We see different sluices, which seem to be out of work because they are sitting on bare ground. We have different river-like and pond-like open waters, which are by the different colors indicate different degrees of siltation. In the lower right area, we have one sluice, which seems to be in action because it is in the river. This is another example of completely devastated areas with different ponds, and different degrees of siltation visible by the different colors of the water and sluices which are near the rim of these ponds, but obviously not in action. In the uppermost part of the image, we see a battery of different sluices in parallel. This is an example of Area 1 where the river is completely degraded by mud and where the alluvial mining activity already ceased, and is not active anymore. This is the result after the mining. This in turn is an example of active mining around a river meander. The left and the right arms of the river are completely muddy and on the left arm of the river the terrace on the shore is broken, and there are batteries of sluices and convoys, obviously active in digging in the muddy water of the river. This is a similar example where the shore of the river is broken and the terraces are altered into large ponds which are completely muddy. In the pond, bark with sluices below the roof are active. This in turn is an example which shows the very beginning of the activity. Obviously, the forest is partly cut down. The trunks are transported away, but still there are no ponds visible. This is now Area 2 showing activity at the beginning. This is again a Bing background and we see that there is not much deforestation activity visible along the river. Here is the same spot, but with the later Sentinel-2 background. Here there is much more activity already visible. And here is the third spot, Zoom Area 3. Again, with Bing as the background image. Most of the image is simply forest with the river in the center. A few spots show already some activity. And here again we see the same spot but with the Sentinel image as background. The activities of the artisanal mining are much more extended, and the terraces and the shores of the rivers are strongly degraded. And here is another example of very initial stages of artisanal mining in the very center of the image. The rest of the image is more or less only forest without a lot of activity. On the right side we see a little area, which is probably a settlement of indigenous people. And now the same spot under the Sentinel image, which shows much more activity. But still it's in the beginning with the start of the deterioration along the river valley. See at the right the settlement as reference. Thank you for your attention to this presentation of sample high-resolution and very high-resolution imagery in the ASM Alert platform. Please have a look at the other presentations. We appreciate receiving any comments which you can send to asmalert@gaf.de or info@envirosecurity.org.